Okay, so this is the most complicated that it gets when it comes to fraction calculations. And we're going to take a little bit of time over it. This is level 5 material, so you'd expect to see this towards the end of a GCSE paper. It's exactly the same as the previous exercise, except there's one additional step that we need to deal with first, which is that we start by converting any mixed numbers to improper fractions. So we need to be totally confident about how we do that. So we're going to start by converting 2 1/3 into an improper fraction. So just to remind you, I multiply the whole part by the denominator. So I times these two together and then add the numerator. 2 times 3, add 1, gives me 7 out of 3. So that denominator stays the same. So let's just write that in as 7 out of 3. I then do the same for my 3 1/2. 3 times 2 is 6. Add my 1 gives me 7 out of 2. Once we're at this stage, it's exactly as it was before. I'm looking at my 2 times table and my 3 times table and saying, what's the first number which is in both times tables? Well, it's 6. So here, to go from 3 to 6, I times by 2. I need to do the same up here. To go from 2 to 6, I times by 3, so I'm going to need to do the same up here. I can now work out what these give me. 7 times 2 is going to give me 14. 7 times 3 is going to give me 21. So it gives me 14 plus 21 out of 6. 14 plus 21 is 35 out of 6. That's a top-heavy and improper fraction, so I need to change it to a mixed number. So remember, I'm saying how many times does 6 go into 35? Well, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. It's going to go in 5 times with a remainder of 5, so it's going to be 5 and 5/6. I can't simplify that. 5 and 6 don't have a common factor, so that is my final answer. Notice the question asked for 2 and a bit plus 3 and a bit, so I shouldn't be terribly surprised that my answer gives me 5 and a bit. Okay, we're going to do the same for the second question. So again, I'm going to start by converting my mixed numbers to improper fractions. So 3 times 5 is 15. Add my 3 is going to give me 18. I've got 18 out of 5. 1 times 8 is 8, add 1 is 9. So it's going to give me my 9 out of 8. And this time, remember, it's a subtraction. I'm looking at my 5 times table and my 8 times table. Let's write those out because it's a bit more complicated than last time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So 40 is the lowest number which is in both times tables. So I'm going to write my bar down here over 40. So, thinking about what I've done, to go from 5 to 40, I've times by 8, so I'm going to need to do the same to that numerator. To go from 8 to 40, I'm timesing by 5, so I need to do the same to that numerator. 18 times 8. Well, let me just do that down here. 18 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 1 is 80. Is 8, so I put in my zeros, it's 80, so it's going to be 144. So 80 and 8 is going to give me 144 up here. And we can quite quickly find that the numbers become quite big. So I've got 144 over 40. Here I've got take away 9 times 5. 9 times 5 is 45. 144 take away 45 is going to give me 99 out of 40. There's not obviously any common factor, so I can't simplify it, but it is top heavy. So, again, going up in my 40 times table, I go 40, 80, the next one will be 120, which is too big. So it's going to give me 2 wholes, which took me up to 80. The remainder to get up to 99 is another 19 out of 40. So my answer is 2 and 19/40. And again, I've got 3 and a bit, take away 1 and a bit, it shouldn't be any surprise that my answer comes out as being 2 and a bit. Pause the video now, make sure that you're happy with those worked examples, make sure they're down in your book, and then we can try some questions of our own.